Hello, and welcome to After Dark Talk Radio. If you're just catching me for the first time, my name is Christine Renee, and I am the owner of After Dark Intuition and your host of After Dark Talk Radio. Every Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I love to come live and talk all about confidence, all about empowerment, all about making your life much better. Changing your life to be the way that you wish, the way that you desire. So if you're just hopping on, please let me know. Let me know who you are. Tell me where you're tuning in from. Hopefully this isn't too smoky. I was just looking. It's Palo Santo today. Oh, hello, Nicole. I love the smell of Palo Santo. It's amazing. Kentucky. Well, thank you so much for tuning in from Kentucky on a regular basis. All right, we'll let that burn. We will let that burn. So, when and if you hop on later and you catch me for the first time, just let me know where you're tuning in from as well. Hashtag replay so that I know that you came by and you watched the video. And this week, you're not from there. You're just a transplant. Let me know where you're tuning in from and let me know what it is that you desire to get out of After Dark Talk Radio every week. I love coming live. I absolutely love talking. And so I am, if you're just catching me for the first time, I am Christine Renee, and I am an intuitive confidence and empowerment coach. That is what I do. And then I also am a 2 times best-selling author, and I am a Reiki master and a crystal healer. And I really love to bring the confidence to ourselves and really talk about the confidence in different ways that we can. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I decided not to really do anything with it today. I just left it, like, I let it dry at night, and I didn't bother doing anything with it. It does have I think it's from like a perm though, like many years ago. So my hair is not naturally curly. Maybe it is now, or wavy. Maybe it is now after, babies and all of that craziness. But if you're tuning in, let me know why you tune in every single week to, what assists you and what you get out of every week. Um, because that is very, very helpful to know. I also put a post in the group here introducing myself. If you don't know, a little bit more in depth, if you don't know anything about me and you want to go see who I am, please feel free to read that. And then I really invite you to introduce yourself within this group. I would like to know who we are speaking to on a regular basis, and what you're looking to get out of the group. And if there's something that you would like me to speak on at any point in time, I would appreciate it. I enjoy our conversations. It is like you're in my living room. Oh, thank you. That's good. I feel like I'm in your living room. So this week we're going to have a little bit of a tough conversation, and I'll tell you why it's a little bit tough, is because we need to get honest with ourselves. I'll use the example of some of my girls this weekend. So this weekend was Miss Massachusetts Teen. So it was a performance. You are today. I'm not door dashing. Okay, cool. Thank you. This past weekend was Miss Massachusetts Teen, a the culmination of everything we've been working towards over the past few months. So the past few months has been a lot of prep, a lot of interview prep, a lot of talent prep, a lot of building up that confidence internally so that we can perform on stage and perform in a competition, right? So when you relate this to daily life, this is all that we do every single day is we prep for daily life, right? We prep for the conversation at work. We prep for the meeting of our, significant other. We prep for parenting our children. We prep for asking for that job. We prep for walking around in our bathing suit. It is bathing suit season, right? Bathing suit season is coming and it will be upon us very, very, very shortly. It's May 10th, right? So we have a few short weeks before we are trampsing around in our beautiful bikini or bathing suit, right? Full bathing suit. And it takes something. It takes some confidence. It takes the comfortableness with our own self. And this is what also is required when we are talking about confidence and when we are talking about competing and trying to be our best self without losing ourselves, right? That's the most important thing is not losing who you are and keeping your honest and true self. So with the culmination of this weekend, right? It's the same with any other activity, right? We compare it to the same thing, right? We compare it to I'm going to, let's say I've got a big speech coming up and I've I've studied and I know my content left and right because I know that I'm going to get asked questions. And then when I get up on stage, I need to be able to hold my head up high. I need to be able to look presentable. I need to be able to answer some questions that might be, slightly off topic, right? I need to be able to have prepped for as much as I possibly could, right? So it's a big event, it's a big day, and we need to take a look at some of the things that we do in daily life as like that big event, right? We need to take that into consideration. We need to think about that. And then, right, we prepared all of this time. We've been preparing, we've been going within, meaning we've been journaling, we've been meditating, we've been clearing our blocks, we've been connecting with our inner child, we've been doing all the things that we have asked ourselves to do, all the things that we have taken it upon ourselves to put our body through, to put our mind through, to consider and contemplate all of the things that might happen. And we get to the big day and we flop. We get up on stage and we can't speak. Or we get up on stage and or we go out to the restaurant and we can't talk to the guy. Or we believe that we need to have a big conversation with our husband and we're unable to have it because that confidence has like choked, right? Like it's got stuck in your throat, or your communication skills are not up to par, right? You just are like, no, you freaked out, you got nervous, you got scared, you got really, really, really wigged out, whatever. Bringing your best self without losing yourself. Yes, exactly, very important. So we get to the big day. Things don't happen exactly how we wanted. So let's take a second situation. The second situation is you were able to do absolutely everything that you thought you could do. You were able to compete flawlessly. You were able to speak every word that you wanted to speak. You were able to, when you're the person being asked questions, you were able to answer all the questions without a problem, without tripping upon yourself, without just everything was flawless, right? Everything was answered, everything was taken care of. There was no stone left unturned and you felt like you did a really good job. You performed flawlessly. and you still didn't get the job, or you still didn't get the guy, or you still didn't have a fabulous conversation with your child when that was all you were trying to do, even though the conversation went well and you didn't get the reaction that you wanted to with your child, right? So we have one scenario where you completely flopped and you choked and you weren't able to get the information out, or you weren't able to speak to the person you wanted to speak to, or you weren't be able to have that conversation with your child or your husband or whoever it was that you're looking to speak to because you just couldn't do it. And then our second scenario is you were able to do it flawlessly. Everything came out perfect. You had the conversation, you spoke your truth, everything came out wonderfully, and you still didn't get the guy. Your husband didn't react to the conversation well like you wanted him to. Your daughter didn't get your concept, whatever it is that you were talking about, and you didn't get the job. So two different scenarios, right? One where you flopped, one where you did everything that you possibly could have done and you still didn't get chosen. Here's what needs to come into play at this point in time. We need is a strong word. You can do what you want. You don't need to do anything. But when we want to grow, when we want to move ourselves forward, when we want to figure out where we could have done better or figure out what was holding us back, or maybe where the problem was or what caused the problem, it's imperative that we actually look and be very honest with ourselves on what we could have done better, what we could have changed, what position we could have, put ourselves in that was a little bit, more forthcoming. Or maybe there was another conversation that we should have had. The thing is, let me just take a sip of water. The thing is, we're honest with ourselves up to a point. And then we don't really tell ourselves the whole truth. We know the truth. We know our own truths. We do. No matter whether you want to admit them or not, you know when you've given yourself 100% to an activity. You know when you've given yourself 100% into this speech, right? So let's take, for instance, this speech, right? I prepped. I read all my documentation in regards to the scenario. I, looked things up on the internet. I looked at questions that had been maybe previously asked about this subject matter beforehand. And I practiced, let's say the event was 3 months in advance and I practiced once a week for 3 months. And I looked up all that information. I wrote down some notes. I took some notes and I thought to myself, these are some really good notes, right? And I wrote them down. I didn't look at them again, but I wrote them down. I met with myself. I set aside time every single week for 3 months to go over all the data, to go over my speech, to go over the questions that people may have asked, and go over, some little nuances within the subject matter. And I still didn't get the job, or I didn't get chosen, or I didn't get the award, let's say, for that speech. Did we do all that we could have done to practice for that speech with what we have presented so far? Every week, every 3 months, taking notes, asking questions, didn't look at the answers, or didn't look at the notes that I had wrote during that whole period of time. I just wrote them, assuming that they would, get into my head. And, you know, Did I do everything that I could have done? If we're being really honest with ourselves, if we're being really honest with ourselves and brutally honest, I mean, no, we didn't do everything that we could have done. But we have to be honest with ourselves about that. If I would have looking if I would have looked at the data, studied the data, maybe 2 or 3 times per week for 3 months, then took the notes, right? I know how I learn. I learn in all different ways. I learn auditory, I learn visually, I learn by writing, and then by, maybe talking about it or something like that. So I know that I did not do everything that I could have done to make that speech go off like even more flawless. Like it was good. Don't get me wrong. It was good. It, did the job. I was able to answer questions, but I still didn't get the award, even though it was pretty flawless. When I honestly look at it, honestly, truthfully, I know that I could have done more. I know that I could have practiced 2 or 3 times a week on my speech. I know when I wrote down those questions and the answers to the questions, and I know that I could have studied those, which I did not study those. I had just wrote them down thinking that that would be enough. So I should have studied my answers. I could have practiced my speech in front of multiple people, multiple different times, maybe once a week, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, the day, the week before or the 2 weeks beforehand. I could have really delved deep into this speech, but I didn't. I chose and thought to myself that what I was doing was good, which it was good, but was it good enough? The problem is we're not honest with ourselves. So when we really bring it back to thinking, did I do everything I could have done? The answer is no. But you can only say that if you can be really, really, really honest with yourself. And honesty is truly important. Honesty is so important in this world, especially when we want to grow and we want to become that confident woman, become that confident person, whether, depending on whatever subject matter it is, right? If we're being really, 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 really honest, there will be some changes that we need to make in our life for all of those scenarios that we just put forward. So what happened this weekend, my teen, she did a fabulous job. She did so good. She was, um, she did not place and she did not win any awards or anything like that, but it doesn't matter because she did a spectacular job with her performance this weekend. There was definitely a couple of like hiccups. You can say like she had her interview, and I'm not personally privy to the actual interview, but we're able to speak to her afterwards, and she said she did a good job, and I'm sure she did. So I'm sure she did a great job, but she did not win the title, and she did not win any awards or anything like that. So she was very sad. She was very depressed. And one of the things that I will be asking her it to do for me in like a couple days. So it was last Sunday. So today's Wednesday. So I'll probably ask her this next weekend. What I want her to do is I want her to journal and I want her to be honest with herself. This is where this whole conversation stemmed from. I want her to be honest with herself and ask herself, did she do everything that she felt that she could do to perform her best at competition? And then I also want to ask her if us as an organization did everything we could do to assist her to get to where she wanted to be prior to the competition, because they're two different questions, right? Two different answers. So because she might not feel like we 100% supported her desires, right? There was a couple of occasions where she couldn't do an interview because we have mock interviews that we do. We have a panel of people, and the young lady comes in, and we interview and we practice multiple weeks. And could we have done more? Could she have done more questions on her own, like maybe with her parent? Or could she have had, a best friend ask her questions every day? Would that have even assisted? Um, I know there's she has like a question when it comes to learning on dance moves and whatnot. So it takes her a little bit longer to move to learn some dance moves. So the poor thing, she couldn't be at the orientation where they actually learned everything for their opening number and all that stuff. And so she did fumble a little bit during the opening number. So I wonder if in her mind she thinks or considers or wonders if she could have done better if she had been at orientation. It was totally excused absence. She had she was going to out of state, I think Washington, D.C. on a school trip that was very important. So she couldn't miss that, when it was school related. So it was really, really important. So I wonder if she feels really like if she feels that she was there at orientation, if she would have been able to do a little bit better on the opening number. And so I think what happened is she psyched herself out. I think she psyched herself out because she wasn't at orientation, and then she psyched herself out when she was actually performing. So I'm very curious to hear the answers when I ask her to do this favor for me, because I think it's a very good task, a very good what's the word I'm looking for? A very good thing to do. Can't think of the word. A very good thing to do, a process for her because she's young, she's 17 years old. So I think it'll be a very good process for her to journal and be very honest with herself, like brutally honest, and so that we can give her that confidence back. Because if she's not looking at something honestly, it's almost like hiding from yourself, right? So it's almost like keeping secrets from yourself. And once we actually are honest, and once we have the truth in front of us, and we know it's the truth, and we know it's the whole truth, that's where we grow. That is where we are able to move forward. Until we have that truth written out, looked at, documented, spoken about, whatever, until we actually have that truth in front of us, we're keeping it from ourselves, right? It's like we're pretending that it doesn't exist. We're not allowing our heart to be complete, our heart to be honest. So we're hiding, right? We're lying to ourselves. We're not allowing ourselves to really, really, really grow from our thoughts, right? Because it's not a mistake. Nothing is a mistake. Nothing is bad. Nothing is a negative situation. What it is a good place for you to look internally, a good place for you to go within and grow from. Because then when we're in the next situation that we actually need to do something with, then we might approach it with a different caliber, a different gusto, right? A different, maybe this time I'm going to have a schedule for how many times I'm going to do my speech. Maybe I'm going to make certain that I meet with multiple people. Maybe I'm going to have people ask me questions at the end of my speech rather than just practicing the speech. Maybe this time I'm going to have people actually go, okay, I want you to pretend you're the audience this time, and I want you to just ask me questions. Absolutely any question that you think I'm going to be able to, that I need to answer, because I truly desire this award, right? This is the award of my life and I must have it. So I think it's a growing place. It's a very good growing place to look at yourself and be brutally, brutally honest. because that's when you won't have the depression. You won't have and I can understand. So I get this whole thing when you are initially, you're denied the thing that you want, right? You don't get the crown. You don't get the award. You're not getting the guy. You're not, moving your relationship forward in the way that you wish. You're not having that conversation with your daughter like you want, right? These things hurt. They make you sad. They make you very, very just like, it could be depressing, right? It could be just like, what can I try now? Right? But most of the time, we're not being 100% honest with ourselves. And when we can't even be honest with ourselves, we can't move forward and we can't actually get to where we want to go. It's a matter of being honest. And what I'm going to suggest to her and what I would suggest for myself is doing exactly what I was just saying with the journaling. I'm going to ask her to journal, and then I will, and maybe I should journal as well. Same thing. See if there's something else that I think I could do for all of my upcoming title holders. I do have still a miss that still needs to compete at the end of June. So it's May 10th. We've got a little over a month and a half where she's going to be competing. And I'm going to put them through one of my courses. It's called A Call to Confidence. And it's one of my old courses, from last year. It's a fabulous course. I'm going to put them through that and make sure that they understand where that internal confidence is coming from, and have them do some. I'm having trouble thinking tonight. Have them do some, not journaling, but some of the programs, right? Some of the parts of the program, which are fabulous, Um, but yeah, it's really important that we're honest with ourselves. I think we hide, and I think what if you do all the things and still don't get the outcome that you desire? It's really not even about the outcome, right? It's about being honest about what you actually did to get what you wanted. Because I think sometimes we aren't honest with ourselves. And we just aren't honest with ourselves. And even though we we like to think we are, we like to say we are, it definitely sucks to not get exactly what you want, right? But is it really the thing for you in the long run, right? Sometimes we go for these things that we want, but is it really the thing that's going to get us to where we need to go in the long run? Maybe it's not even for us, even though we desire it. Maybe the process of going for it is the thing that's actually there to actually help us get to where we really want to go, because the next thing behind that is what's really for us. Right? We all know that the universe is working towards us. I mean, the universe is working for us. And sometimes, even though we might not see it, like even though we might not see that right now, she might not see that that title is not for her right this very minute. The whole process was for her, right? The whole process was learning. The whole process of going through all of it was very good, right? This has happened to your daughter several times with soccer. Yeah, but the process is what helps us grow. The process is what helps us become the better person, the better human, right? The better, she's a child now, but the better mother when she, grows up, the better one to teach the lessons, right? Maybe it's, whatever she's going to do with her living. Maybe whatever she's going through now is what's going to assist her later on in the future, it's it does always suck. It absolutely sucks to not get what you want, right? Sucks to not get the job we want. Sucks to not get the man. Sucks to not get the fabulous conversation with your kid. I get it. It can be depressing, and we have to pull ourselves out of that funk sometimes, because it can be hard, right? It can be really hard not getting what we want. But when we go deep, we understand what our true honesty is. We're documenting it. We are being brutally honest with ourselves. We'll understand eventually that maybe that thing wasn't for us, and we will understand what more we can do in the future. Maybe through that honesty and through that conversation with ourselves, it's not even the thing that we want to begin with. Maybe we really didn't want to win. Maybe we didn't really want the award. Maybe what we really, really wanted was just the experience of speaking up on that stage and having the opportunity to answer questions from, the audience members, and just I wanted to know that I could actually do that. Maybe that's all I wanted, right? I think once we really look into the situation and we really honestly understand what it is that we are desiring, we get the truth. And you know what? I can also see the other side of it too, especially when we're talking with children, right? So my teen is a 17-year-old girl. Maybe she doesn't even have the thought process quite yet on how to contemplate the actual truth, right? She can probably write down what her desires were, and maybe she's not able to actually tell herself the truth, but she might be able to. She's pretty mature, and I think she'll be able to tell herself that, she got thrown a little bit by the choreography because she learns in a particular way and maybe didn't have the opportunity to learn in that particular way. So that kind of was a precursor to what happened later on down the road, which nothing happened, right? It was just in her mind, I think. So what is hard is when you don't get the feedback of why someone stopped scheduling massages, stopped calling, etc. How are you supposed to know how to do it different if you don't know what you did wrong? But here's the thing, you didn't do anything wrong. The problem is with them. It's not with you. What you're doing is fine. It's not you at all in any way, shape, or form. The thought process that is the hard part is thinking that you did something wrong, but you didn't do anything wrong. They're just not the client for you at this point in time anymore. Your daughter is a senior based on her high school soccer reg. She was supposed to get a Kentucky at MS. Supposed to get MS. Oh, Miss Kentucky and this. Okay. So like an award, or what is the Miss Kentucky? Yeah, and you know what? Again, like, we don't always get what we want, but when we think about the situation, what does it do for us in the future? Is it assisting us in the future? I understand it might not be exactly what she wants right now, just like what you're saying. It's not for you right now. Those clients aren't for you because they're just not in the same place that you are, right? You have definitely done nothing wrong. Same thing happens in college. She was supposed to get athlete of the year. Everyone was shocked that she didn't get it. Yeah. Yeah. That definitely sucks. And it happens more often than not. But when we really take a look at the situations, we understand eventually. You might not understand it right now, but you understand eventually why something was not for you and how it assisted you and how it helped you grow through the future. I know it sucks. It definitely sucks, but there is times upon which we are definitely not honest with ourselves. And I think the more honest we are with ourselves and the more we take a look at exactly what we are doing, like let's take for instance your there's zero feedback, and that someone stopped scheduling massages, stopped calling, they're in a different place, right? People are all about themselves. People are never generally about other people, right? Like when there's always the bullies, and the bullies are trying to attack, people, the weaker people. It's because of them. It's not because of the person being bullied, right? Which that person thinks it's about them, but it's not. It's about the bully. The bully has an issue. The bully has a problem in their way of thinking. They're having issues somewhere along their journey, and that's how they're experiencing it. That's how they're taking it out, right? Taking it out on other people. They're utilizing that bullying to actually assist them in their own life, right? But it's all about them. It's not about the person that they're bullying at all. It's what they're going through in their own life. What would I say to which thing? Just let me know. But yeah, it's very, very important. Um, I talk about going from within or empowering yourself from within. Your call to confidence. I talk about empowering yourself on a regular basis. And to do that, it is important that we sit with ourselves and we actually contemplate the thoughts, right? We need to start thinking about the questions that we have in our own mind. I definitely try my best to think like that, and it does affect me sometimes. Sure, like, and I get it. I do. It does affect us, and we just have to pull ourselves out of that thinking, right? But when we're actually doing the contemplation, when we're looking at something with that logical mind, that's when that sadness, that depression, that thought process of it's you, that's when some of that you can logically be like, no, it's me, or it's it's not me, right? It's not me at all. This is all about somebody else. And when we're then building up our own confidence by even contemplating that question, saying that it's not me and understanding that it's not you, that's when you're able to build your confidence even more. And then you put yourself out there for your people to come back in, right? You open yourself back up for bringing your people back in. To your daughter, the same thing. I would tell her the same thing that we're talking about now, that not everything is for us right now at this moment in time, and that it does certainly suck that she didn't get what she wanted, right? And that based on what we can logically see, that yes, she probably should have gotten this award or whatever it is that she was looking for, but there must be some other factor, right, that we can't see that's coming into play that is the reason why she didn't get this award. And it does suck. You can understand that with her, or you can feel that with her, and you could contemplate that with her, but have the conversation with her saying, well, what is something good that we can bring out of this? How did this help you grow? Do you understand now that it really sucks to not get something that you really, really, really want? But then how do you feel afterwards, right? We can all wallow in our ice cream, for a little bit, which that's what I would do. I would go eat my ice cream and be sad for a little while, maybe even cry, but then I'd be done, right? And I'd pick myself back up, and I would understand maybe what I need to do next time, right? What more can I do the next time? But we have to then be honest with ourselves. Was there something more I could have done to begin with? Is there something better I can do in the future? Right? So hopefully that resonates. Let me go ahead and pull a card for today. All right. Oh, I don't have my other cards down here tonight. It's because I took them with me. I took them with me when I did my in-person readings a few weeks ago, which was a very slow day, by the way. When are you your truest self? It's a very good question. When are you your truest self? Because we all put on our facades. We all put on our, some sort of cloaked behavior, right? When we leave the house, when we speak to people, right? It's kind of like a protective cloak, right? We put that on. I'm my truest self when I'm speaking to you guys, right? When we have blatant conversations, right? We talk about, yeah, oh, thank you. When I love speaking about confidence and empowerment. I'm absolutely entertained. I have, I can talk about it endlessly. There's always something new that I love to talk about. I come here with zero makeup on, you know. I've got a t-shirt on. I haven't done my hair. Yeah, you know what I mean? My hair is my hair. I like it wavy. But this is me. This is true. This is honest. This is it. This is as good as it gets. But I think this is my truest being in this particular space. When I've got some of my other jobs, you have to put on different hats, because maybe I have to put on an authoritative hat. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you love it. I'm glad you love it. But yeah, I feel like I can be totally honest. I'm doing the work that I need to do. I do my own journaling. I do my own meditations. I do my own contemplation, my own energy clearings. I read my books. I try and bring as much, I like the scientific data as well. And yeah, so that's why I really love talking about this subject matter because I wasn't always a super confident person either. It took me a really long time to get confident, about absolutely everything. And it's important. And I think it's important for people. I think it's important for people to become their true self so that they can, be just as amazing, right? Like we're amazing now, but to be able to, this is the card I pulled. Really difficult to put together. This is very beautiful. So this is 21 by Ravi Yogini. I'm going to have to read the book on this one because I don't know this deck hardly at all. I've had it for a while, but I don't use it very often. So let's see what the beautiful message is for us today. So it was number 21. So Sublime Barivi, fierce with sacred rage, cannot be deceived nor deterred. She is unflinching, fearless, and determined. She causes that which is unworthy of the soul to flee and secures divine protection for the authentic soul path. Her presence empowers our hearts to face our fears and signifies that we are ready to overcome anything that has held us back. She gives the power to fulfill our heart's desires and reminds us to embrace our unique path with confidence. If that is not the perfect card for today, I don't know what is. Like, legit. Seriously. Let me show you the card again. That was the most perfect message. And such a cool card. I love the colors. So beautiful. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, very timely. I love it. And thank you. Yeah, when do I sleep? Sometimes I have been getting very good sleep. I bought this ring. It's a Aura ring. So it does like it's OURA. It does the like measures your sleep, it measures your activity, measures your heart rate and all of that stuff, and it's very good and I love it because I've got the Apple Watch and whatever, but that I don't want to wear it while I'm sleeping, because it's too like I don't want it on my. I need to charge it, right? When am I going to charge it? So I bought this ring and I love it, and I have been doing very well on sleep, but it is about once a week that I end up working something that really screws with my sleep time. So like tonight, I'm working a midnight to 8 shift, which will screw up the rest of the week. Which is fine. But I really do. I try and go to bed very early. It doesn't always happen. I try to go to bed around like 9, 9:30. But sometimes I'm in bed 10:30, 11, 11:30. Like I worked till midnight last night, so I didn't get to bed till late, but it's okay. I do get a good amount of sleep though. But yeah, I'm trying to pare down my life a little bit to try and get not doing so many things because it is not in my nature to do 50,000 things. I need to kind of bring it together. Anyways, thank you so much for the fabulous conversation. I hope if you watch this on the replay, please hashtag replay. And I hope you all have a good night. I appreciate you. Thank you. Bye.